actually know what's going on here.
I literally have no idea.
Help.
We're 20 whatever.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
And welcome back to 20 whatever.
Episode 43.
That's crazy.
I know. I remember how exciting it was when we got to the 20s. We were like, 20.
We're 20 whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess I blinked and now we're at 40.
I know. I think that's how life works.
That is how life works. You blink and it's been 20 years.
You blink and you die.
Yeah. What do they say? Don't blink because you might miss it.
But that's so
Literally.
true, though.
I
And I
know.
hate how, like, life has been summed up into that cliche where it's like, don't, like, you gotta enjoy the ride.
Yeah, because it's so short.
And you
Yeah.
blink and then you die. But, like, it's true.
It is true. And I
It's
feel
factual.
like we don't realize that until we're like adults, right? Kids are like, it's so long. I've been doing this thing forever. And then you turn like 23 and you're like, I'm 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And now we're here. You know, you're like, I just graduated high school. I still feel like that. I'm like, I just graduated.
I kind of feel that way too. Like, you
You-
know,
but,
like, you're like, I'm too young for that. At least that's how I feel.
Oh,
Like when
yeah,
my mom
yeah.
starts asking me about kids, I'm like, I'm simply too young to own
I'm
a
too
kid.
young. And
You're like,
they're
I
like,
am 17
I'm
years
17.
old.
Yes,
But you guys, our high school like our 10-year high school reunion is next year.
Wait,
That's wild.
10 years.
Will you guys go to yours?
No.
oh my gosh.
No.
Oh yeah,
I don't care
think
about any of those
It's
people.
for high school, right?
Yeah, high school.
Oh
10
yeah,
years.
No, I was
But
gonna say
like, that's
homeschool.
so long.
Yeah, that
It's
is
been 10
so
years?
long.
No, it hasn't.
No.
I just literally just graduated.
You know what
Oh
was
my
the
gosh.
biggest just like mind blow for me with that was when my little brother graduated high school because I was like,
Mm.
you're a baby.
Mhm.
Right.
And if I'm in high school, you're in middle school.
Right.
No, really, you're in elementary school.
Right.
So if you're graduating, what does that make me?
Right.
Old?
I feel that way with
No.
with the kids we did theater with,
Yeah.
just seeing them graduate from college. Seeing
Yeah.
the kids that I used to do theater with graduating from college, I think shakes me. Because I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
I remember them like about to go to college. And so obviously the 4 years, like pandemic and everything has happened, haven't seen them. So like really just getting back to it, you're
Yeah.
like, how are all the the kiddos? Big.
Grown.
And that's how I guess how you can see it from like other people. Because within yourself.
Yes. Within yourself, you can't really see it because it's just the same. And we don't really change that much, like looks wise, day
Right.
to day.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, we're sitting here acting like the relative who comes in and is like, you're so old. I remember when you were in diapers. And you're like, okay, well, I don't know
I don't
who
even
you
know
are.
you. I know it. We were talking about that with somebody else. We were like, oh my God, you were so young last time we saw it. And I was like, that's so annoying. Like,
I know.
that's what old people say.
I feel that though, like truly,
that's some old
when
people
I'm
shit.
as it's leaving my lips, I'm
Right.
embarrassed. Saying like, you look so big. I'm like, I have to stop saying that because I'm just making myself look
old,
ancient.
sound old. And they're like, yeah. Like, what do you even say? Remember when people would say that? I would just be like, yeah.
Yeah. People would say that just and I'd be like, crazy.
What do you say?
Is there a
Nothing.
better response to that?
Yeah, you too. Like, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they should say back to me. And I'd be like, no, as hell, that's why I'm freaking out.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I guess there's no real. It's just like, oh yeah,
Awkward smile and nod.
that's how growth works.
I
So.
know.
Like last time I saw you were 10. I'm like, yeah, that was 10 years ago. So I'm 20 now.
Yeah. So here we are
So
being
here
like,
we are.
can't believe
I know.
10 years ago we were in high school.
It's crazy how time really does fly.
Mm-hmm.
Time flies.
Okay.
Time
Yes.
dies.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, ladies, that was gorgeous.
Thanks. We harmonized.
Well, before we get into this episode, just a quick reminder, your weekly Wednesday reminder to subscribe to 20 Whatever on YouTube. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. And if you want to keep up with us as well, we are on Instagram, TikTok. Links are in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And before we get into this episode, should we read a message from the group chat, ladies?
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Take a
Bring
look.
them in.
Ooh, we have our viewer, Kayla. Hi, ladies. My name is Kayla. I just watched your pod on body image and I need advice. My sweet husband really struggles with negative self-talk. Do you have any advice on how to help the men in your life with body image? Thanks. Love you all so much.
Kayla,
Kayla, we love you.
we love you. How relevant? What do you say to them? They don't have. Listen, not everybody watches Sierra Schultzzie channel.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I feel like your demographic is mostly women also. So like, do men have a Sierra Schultzzie to watch?
Mhm.
Jack Black.
Okay, period.
Yeah, right.
Period. I love Jack Black.
I do too. I feel like I see clips of him all over TikTok. I'm like, you are living your best life.
Mhm.
Yes.
But for the men in your life who need a little bit of that, body positive, more positive self-talk, I think one of the best things you can do is just interrupt that thought spiral a little bit without shaming them or saying, you can't talk like that or don't say that, right? Is jumping in a little bit of, but why do you think that? Where's that coming from? Like helping them guide through that thought process and just being the person to kind of remind them, like, that doesn't define you. You're perfect the way you are. Like, those things seem simple, but I think especially when there are people in your life who haven't really thought about where that thought is coming from and why it's not true, saying something and just jumping in to kind of stop that cognitive distortion and that thought spiral can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that goes not just with like men, just people in general. Like you were saying, like some people just really haven't thought about why they think those things. Like it's just a thought that they've always thought, like it just is, And we kind of talked about this when we talked about like our moms who just, that's just something that they do. And you're like, oh, I feel like this. And you're like, but we have done a little bit more work and have had more conversations about the way we talk about ourselves and view ourselves. So I feel like I like that interrupting what did you call it? The spiral?
Yeah, like the thought spiral.
The thought spiral. Yeah, that's really good. And it's so easy to shame, but like positively shame, because you're not like, why would you say that? But you're like, don't say that. Like, don't talk like that. And like, I love you. And it's like, da-da-da. And you're like, right. But that still is kind of met with.
And when it's said to us, on the flip side, I never can hear it either. So like, why would I think that me saying it would make a difference from if I've heard it? No, I get.
Right.
This is a tough
situation. It is tough.
I think also there's an opportunity for you, Kayla, to model what like a healthy self-talk about yourself looks like. Because if you've only ever thought and talked negatively about yourself and only seen people around you do that, you may not even be aware that there's another way to think.
Right. Yeah. Like lead by example.
Absolutely. That is really great advice, Sierra.
Yeah.
That was really great.
We watched that TikTok of Taylor Lautner. We saw a TikTok about Taylor Lautner, like talking about his body and just like the way he viewed himself after the Twilight series situation and how he was just like living. And everyone was like, he lost it, he fell off or whatever things people say. And he was like, I didn't even know. Like, and also I was in the gym all day, every day. And I was like 19. Like,
and
I'm
miserable,
grown now.
He said.
Yeah, and miserable.
Well, and when you're cast in a movie like that, your job is to maintain that physique.
Right.
So that's all you're doing.
It's like quite literally in your contract that you have to look like
job.
It's your job to look like that.
And so you're already in like the best shape of your life. And then leading up to the shoot, they have you go to these crazy lengths to look even more jacked.
Right.
Of like restricting water, only eating certain foods, like going and sweating it out in the sauna. Like they have you do all these things so that you are at what they believe is the most perfect, look for the shoot. So even a week after the shoot, he probably didn't look like he did in the movie.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Much less getting back to like a normal life, getting older, having that not be your full-time job.
Right.
Yeah. Of course your body's going to change.
Right. And people like ripped him apart. And he's like, I literally just like, the movie ended. So I'm doing something different. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. That's so sad.
I know.
And I think that it also is really that element that Sarah's bringing up of like the awareness of it all and just stopping it. Like, for example, I had a conversation this past week with a coworker, and he said, "Oh, I saw a great post about the rejecting the bikini. Like that's so great that you're doing." He goes, "Me, I'm super glad that I have sons because like I don't have to deal with that. Like they don't have to." And in that moment, I was like, unfortunately, there's still a person.
To some degree.
Some degree, and there's still a person, and it's like they still will could feel a certain way about their bodies. Like you don't know, you can't just assume, oh, because he's a boy, he won't have to deal with body image.
Right.
Thank God I don't have a girl. And in that moment, I was like, wow, like there's still like a missing link between like the awareness of like how everyone goes through this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the struggles and the body image, ideals that men face are different than women, and
Right.
they are less severe in a lot of cases, but still, like, maybe it's not the drive to, like, lose weight and be smaller, but it's you need to be
like
bulky,
buff,
you need to be
And
buff
tall.
and
I mean,
tall.
that's the first thing. That's the first
that's
thing.
true. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the first time that boys were getting picked on. My brother was the littlest one of his class, and so weird because I also like had like a spurt. So my mom was like, how did my daughter be so tall? Like the tallest of the class, like not what we wanted, because then I got bullied for like the tallness.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
and then the boy was small. So it's like
Yeah.
same genes, like right there, it just shows you how,
Like people are just different.
and we live different like experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Weird.
You're so right about the, like, it's not the same, but it's like, it can, what's that called? Intersect? Is that the word
Yeah.
I want to say? Yeah, like, can intersect, right? Because boys, a lot of guys are like, oh, we need to be tall, we got to be jacked and all this stuff, right? And have 6-packs, 8-packs, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, we need to be small and little and like, so we can be perceived. But it's like, we're all just like telling each other how we should look and also not being able to like even obtain any of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're all like, what are we?
Well, we all
Talking
have
about.
to not like what we have going on right now. If not, capitalism cannot literally.
Yeah,
like we have, there has to be something
Yeah.
wrong, quote unquote, with
Yeah.
every single person.
Yeah.
Because that's their motive, to find something that's wrong with you that you need to change.
Yeah.
Right.
So they can sell you something to fix it.
Mhm.
Right.
If not,
Right.
what am I? If you're too happy,
You're not buying anything.
you're not
Yeah.
buying anything to fix it.
And
Yeah.
that's wrong.
And that's wrong.
And how could you?
How could you love yourself?
yeah. Honestly, the audacity. How dare you?
How dare you? Don't you know that you're ugly? Don't you know?
They're like,
God.
buy this and fast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Get it before it sells out because everyone's ugly, just like you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Kayla's sweet little husband, you're perfect, okay? Never change. If you're listening,
Maybe play the rejecting the bikini body like in the background and just allow him to
Yeah.
overhear it, maybe, you know? Just like,
Oh, what this?
oh,
This?
Yeah.
Oh, would
Oh.
you like
would
to
you like to
listen?
listen to
Oh,
this? Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
the baddies are speaking. Come close.
Yes. The baddies are speaking. Listen, tune in.
So thank you so much for submitting that,
Yes.
Kayla. And to everyone, please, if you haven't yet, send us a text, send us a beep. The number is 917-810-3045. And I just realized I said O and 0. So
I did
you know
too.
what? It's giving versatility.
Yeah. It's giving numbers and letters.
Yeah.
She knows them all. So
Take that, Leah Michelle.
Get you a girl who can do both.
not Leah Michelle.
Did you see she's actually playing in on that now? Like she
Well,
recently,
she
she has to. I mean, she has to lean into
because
it
we've just
Poor girl.
We've
Poor girl.
torn her to shreds.
we have we did.
Today's topic actually fell into our lap. Girl Riayn and I, as you know, have moved, so we don't see each other as much. So I feel like when we do unite, we are having like substance sort of conversations.
We're having TED Talks.
Like TED Talks, right? Yeah, so we recently just hung out together and we got into such a conversation about the meaning of being cool, staying relevant, needing to fit in, and just like really talking about that. And I was like, just stop what we're doing. We should hold a pin in this and bring
Yeah.
it to the couch because I want to know what you think about it. And it's just something that as a collective, I feel like we all at one point are trying to fit in or
Yeah.
be cool or whatever, even
staying relevant.
or just,
Mhm.
I don't know. So I wanted to open up the conversation because we started having some great conversations.
Yeah, we did.
And it
She was like, stop. Literally, shut up. I'm going to write it down right now, and we're going to do this on the podcast. I was like, period.
it's true.
I'm so glad we are.
Because what a experience. And I want to take it over to you, Riayn, because you mentioned about how it kind of originated when we were in elementary school and like that
Mhm.
idea of the coolness or like needing to fit in. Like that's where
Yeah.
it like all developed.
Yeah. I would say, like, when you're a kid, like, I would say, like, toddlerish age, you don't, like, you're just living life. Like, you're not comparing yourself. Like, comparison, like, doesn't exist until you're maybe like, oh, I want that thing that they have, right? But, like, even still, that's not really, like, comparison until you get into, like, elementary school when people start maybe dressing a certain way or everyone has, like, the same kind of toy or, like something that unites people, but like in a group. I think
Yeah.
that's when like groups start forming, and then you start noticing like, oh wait, all of these people in this group have this thing. I remember the first thing I noticed, kind of like about that was when people started getting like phones,
Mm.
and I was like, I don't have a phone, and it was like a boo-boo phone. You know, I mean, obviously this was like back in the day when it was like not even
still,
but
it was
still,
a phone.
It was a phone. And I was like, I want a phone. And then all the little girls that had phones were like, with their little phones, and like, oh, do you have a phone? Sorry. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? And I remember being like, Mom, like I need begging because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be a part of the group of girls that had a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And like from that moment, I feel like for a lot of people, it was just like standing out was like not what we were doing.
Yeah, the goal was not to stand
Yes.
out
No,
in middle
no.
school. No.
Well, because
Survival.
anything
Yeah.
that makes you different separates you from the group and can make you a target.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
And all you want is to like be part of the group, the
Yeah.
collective, not stand out, not be separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that age that you were saying to in elementary school, where it's very much like, what do you have? What are you into?
Mm-hmm.
Your interests and the things that you have become your identity.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
In elementary school, there were like the Pokemon card kids, the marble kids, the
Yep.
kids playing kickball, and like that was it.
Yep.
Mhm.
That was your
That
thing.
was who you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you needed to make one of your many interests, because we are all multifaceted
Yeah.
people, your thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that for me carried through, honestly, middle school, high school, because I felt like I needed to pick one thing so that I could really be part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of like floating between the different groups of my hobbies, where I had my soccer friends and my theater friends. It's like, yeah, I have those things, but I should be really
One.
part of one.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm missing something to go here, I'm missing something to go there,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm different.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I also feel like, especially in middle school, it honestly, the flip between middle school and high school was really interesting, which I'll talk about in a second. But like in middle school, it was really about like outfits, like clothing, I feel like,
Mm.
and like the type of music. I feel like it was like music, clothing, and like dating stuff.
Mhm.
Like that was like, if you didn't have a boyfriend yet in middle school, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm stressed because I literally can't get one. Listen, I'm trying.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to catch a man.
Yeah.
Me at 12, like, I can't get one.
I'll be single
I'll be
forever.
single forever. Literally. And they kind of made me feel that way because I like I couldn't get a boyfriend. So like, you can't go on our double dates with us or go to the dance because we're going to the dances with our
Mhm.
boyfriends.
Mhm. Mhm. And one of the things that just like pops out in middle school that I needed and felt like I just had to do to fit in was just straighten, burn my
God.
hair so straight. I would wake
Same.
up at 5 a.m. just so I could straighten my hair because all the girly pops had their hair so straight and so
Yep.
fried.
So fried.
The wet to dry straightener where it would crackle.
Sick.
But we did that because every single girl had their hair like that, and I was not going to not fit in.
Right.
I was not going to wear my hair curly out.
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
That I didn't do that until it was trendy with the mousse and the straight bangs, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Then I could jump on that train, but like it wasn't trendy, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
it's sad too how like just one little comment or one little thing can make you feel like you are now outside the group and you need to conform, right? You need to
Mhm.
straighten your hair. Like I remember for me, I had not really thought about the fact that my hair was curly and other people had straight hair. Hadn't thought about it. Just was my hair.
Yeah.
Didn't perceive it. And I remember in 6th grade, a boy told me that my hair made me look like a poodle because it was poofy and
Right.
curly. And I went home and I was like, I will never wear my hair curly again.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because, and it wasn't even an insult. He wasn't even like bullying me. It was like
Right.
that stupid 12-year-old observation. Your hair looks like a poodle.
Right.
Right.
This is curly and
Yeah.
that's girly. So
But
Yeah.
to me, I was like, oh my God,
Right.
this is the worst insult of my life.
Right.
Mhm.
And I really did change the way that I did my hair for many years.
yeah.
But it just takes that one thing, and sometimes not even to be said, but just to witness something,
Mhm.
see something
Oh,
on
yeah.
TV.
Yep.
A lot of the times that like, that's not cool anymore. Done.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that so interesting? Because let's actually talk about what being cool means. And like personally, I'm like, if you're cool, you are just like authentically yourself. You're free to be yourself. And I guess it's not, but I'm like, it's contradicting to try to fit in because then that's the same thing as everyone else. So that's not cool.
I think the definition of cool changed
Okay.
for
Mm.
us.
Okay.
Because cool was, do you have these cool shoes? Do you have this cool thing? Do you have this or this?
Mm.
But now the way we perceive cool is like
effortless.
Like they just
Cool.
are.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just something you are. It's not really something you can like
Become.
grab. Like you
Yeah.
can't just get it and then you're cool. Like before, if you had that pair of shoes, you were cool. You can't just get a pair of shoes now and be cool. That's not how this works.
Right.
But like, so I think the definition of cool is like changed.
Do you think that's an age thing? Like, are teenagers today, it's still you have to have this, or is it just kind of like a cultural shift?
I think it's an age thing.
Yeah.
I do. I think, well, I mean, especially in the age of TikTok, right? Everybody has the same everything because we're all influenced by each other, right? It's all like the Stanley Cups and the Dior and the Rare Beauty and all that shit that we all have. Not that it's not great. Listen, I have it all for a reason. It's great. But that probably still is something that's going on in like middle and high school.
Right.
It's just the things have changed.
Yeah, the things are just different.
It's not, do you have a Tamagotchi? It's
Do you have a Stanley Cup?
Do you have a Stanley Cup? Yeah. But then also, I feel like there's kind of a flip in that too in high school where it's like, oh, I'm not like everybody else.
yes.
I'm cool because I'm not like all of you. They're not like other girls.
And maybe that's where it comes in of we spent much of our young life trying to be part of the homogeneous group, right? Like, I'm not different. There's nothing different about me. And then we start to feel like, well, I should maybe be a little different. And then we start to feel like, oh, well, if people are making fun of girls for these things that
Right.
I thought were cool and I thought I needed to make people like me, I should now do the opposite. And it's interesting. I'm just realizing so few of my decisions growing up about my own clothing, my hair, anything, were me thinking, what do I like and what do I want? That was not as much of a thought as like, what's cool? What will other people think of me in this?
Oh, yeah.
There was very little until my 20s of like, I like this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think that's why a lot of us have like, feels like a crisis, like a fashion crisis, because you're like, what am I wearing?
I know.
Yeah.
Is that part of it that we've gone to school? We all were doing what we got to do, and then you get here and you're like, okay, so what are we wearing?
Yeah.
How do we like
and
even
what do I
this?
like? What's my style?
I feel that so deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're like you're so focused on other people. And then I feel like you kind of realize that like nobody really actually matters or cares.
Oh.
And then you're like, okay, right. So now that I know that nobody cares, let me do something. And then you're like, but let me go on TikTok and see what we're doing.
Right. You're like,
Because
I can dress for
don't-
me.
Yeah.
I need people to tell
need
me
to
what
tell
dressing
me-
for me is like.
Yeah. And I feel like that starts in high school a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause like, when was your big not for other girls moment?
High school, I think.
High school?
I think middle school, I was very much like a girl's girl. Like my group of friends was mostly girls.
Mhm.
And I had a couple guy friends and we would hang out with the guy group, but it was in high school that I was like, I'm one of the boys. Other girls? Not me.
Not
Right.
me.
And who doesn't want to be a part of the guy group? Like that just means you're
That's
winning.
cool.
You're literally winning.
That's
You're
cool.
literally winning.
Yes.
Yep.
As hell.
Because
Yep.
the guys decide who's cool.
Right.
And if you hang out with them,
You're cool
you're a
automatically.
cool girl.
But you got to stay chill because then they could throw you out at any point. So you
Right.
can't be like the other
No,
girls.
you have to be chill and you can't admit to liking them and you can't say anything girly and you have to be one of the bros.
And you have to sit and watch them play video games, but you can't play because,
because you're
that's
not
a
good.
guy thing.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
the amount of video games I have consumed over. God, if I could tell young Paloma to just get the hell up and
Just
get
go.
out of
Yeah,
it.
you're like, you don't have to be here.
God, I have watched so many men just
And then
play
also,
so many
like,
games.
We're having a get together, whatever. Do you have any friends? Do you have any friends that can?
I think I told you guys that's what like ruined my friendships with my guy friends in high school. I finally just had it because every
God.
time they would ask me to hang
Bring your
out,
friends.
and then it would be like an hour before. Who are you bringing? I'm
What?
sorry, you invited me,
I'm
Right.
bringing me, myself, and I.
Right.
but that's not enough
No, no,
because that's not cool enough.
And we need like your hot friends to be like, no, like you're cool, but like we want like girls. We want girls there.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like and you're like, no, yeah, but
not
you.
you.
Like,
You don't
like
count.
real girls. Like real girls.
We all really went through the same
Yes,
thing. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yes.
I think too that's where a lot of our like own identities and kind of the issues that we're having to unpack with them in our 20s come from. Is if there's something that made you different, whether it's your hair, whether it's your body, whether it's your ethnicity, whatever it is that made you different, and you felt like that's why you were ostracized. Now we're unpacking that and going, okay, why do I feel this, you know, shame, this discomfort, or this like otherness about this part about me? And it's because we were told either directly or indirectly through other people's actions growing up that this thing makes us different and being different is bad.
Right.
Right. Because let's think about us in the past. We were at middle school. We're like, okay, we got to be like everyone. We got to be like everyone. We straightened our hair. We got the clothes. And then we got to a point where it's like, let me try to be different a little bit. And at least for me personally, there was pushback, you know, and that was like, ding, ding, ding. All right. Nope. Back to don't say anything.
I tried and it didn't work.
You know, like I feel like you experience or when you're experimenting, like trying something new, and then someone says like, what the heck's with those orange pants? Like, how could you? And I'm like, oh, that's the last time I ever tried something new with my style, like ever. Like, I still remember the orange pants that I will
that was
real. I wore orange pants. They were so cute from H&M, and
I'm
like
sure
I loved
they
them.
were.
And I just did the whole thing, and they were like the statement piece. And let me tell you, they were like, and I was like, I'm never, ever wearing these pants again.
Literally unlocked a memory. I totally forgot this happened until right now. I think I was going to my freshman year of high school. I think I was young, and actually absolutely was freshman year, because this was like the most important back to school clothing haul. Like it was important.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to high school. Okay.
Gosh.
Like this
and we didn't
was
have
like,
YouTube, which is, how to do your hairstyle, what to wear.
Listen, and I wasn't in it like that for sure. And I just remember but I remember knowing, I was like, okay, I know that the colored skinny jeans were like in.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get them in every color. It's fine. My mom, bless her, we spent so much money on, we got so much clothes, all this stuff, came back to school, wore like the green skinny jeans. Like I had a whole, like it was everything. And that just over summer, that was not it anymore. And I had so many pairs of colored skinny jeans, and I didn't wear a single one of them after that day. And they just sat in my closet. And my mom was like, why don't you? And I was like, because they're last season. Yeah. I can't wear them. I can't wear them because what do I look like?
And the question was never, do you like your colored skinny jeans? That probably wasn't even the question when you were buying them.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, it was just, I have to buy these because these are cool.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is the uniform. This is what people will be wearing, and I have to fit in.
And I have to, yep. And then I wore them, and nobody was wearing them, and they were like so weird. And I was like,
allow me to go change into my gym shorts.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like that would have been better.
Yeah.
Also, wait, remember when that was like cute? Wearing like the shorts and like rolling them up and then like tying the top.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the girls that could do it, and I was like, I wish I could pull it off, but I know I don't look like that.
I would roll those shorts to hell.
Yeah.
Those, oh my God.
Booty
it was
shorts.
roll.
And also that's so ugly. Like
So
the
ugly.
actual like roll is like this thick around your waist. Like what are we
But
doing?
to wear Adam Sandler fucking pants down to
No,
my knees.
absolutely not.
Like they really did us like that. I'm like, why'd you put us in these?
I know. The shorts were so long, like covering our knees. And I'm like, what
So bad.
is it? And like the biggest shirt ever. And you're just like,
God.
so ugly. But I'm like, also it doesn't matter. We're just like sweating and running.
Right.
But also we had to look cute while we were walking the mile.
Oh, that was a big change for me in like fitting in.
Yeah.
I was a girl. I was trying to run the mile as fast as I could. Like I was, and I had friends who were also in my PE class who we were racing each other. And then all of a sudden one day, I remember, I don't even really remember like when it happened, but I remember my PE coach being like, hey, I noticed that like you only walk the mile now, which is fine. Like that's fine. As long as you're under, whatever it was, 12 minutes, that's fine. But like you used to run it in like 6. So like,
what happened?
What's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just want to hang out with my friends, and my friends walk the mile. But at some point I was like, oh, it's embarrassing to run and to try.
Yep.
To try.
Yep. To try. We talked about that.
How did they convince us to care or how did they convince us that trying and caring is not cool?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know. How did we get there?
I don't know. Like as a kid, you're always like, I don't care.
I don't care. And you're like, oh, that's so badass.
How did this work with you guys being, especially you and you, Sierra, and Paloma being tryhards? When did that start in this then?
I think it was around the PE mile time when I'm like, all right. And also that was the same year. That would have been 7th grade. That was the same year that I went from being a straight A student to C's and B's. And that was also the year I got boobs, and also the year that I started liking boys. So I think maybe all of those things coincide.
priorities.
All of a sudden I had boobs and I was getting attention from boys because of my boobs.
Your
And I was
priorities
like,
changed.
I like this attention.
Right.
Let me make myself cool
Yeah.
by not running the mile and not doing my homework.
Right.
Now I've done it.
Now I'm peak cool.
Yeah. I think that for me, it was just like knowing that I had to shop from Hollister. You can check my every single photo of middle school. I have a tight Hollister top,
Oh, yep.
tight skirt, straight hair, under eyes, like lined to the gods, and just
Literally.
lip gloss from, what was that? Bath and Body Works that just smelled
I totally
like
know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yep.
that one.
Yep.
So that was like Paloma. I was just like, I have to shop like this. Like my mother knew Abercrombie and Hollister only, and she'd be like, I still remember her commenting and being like, Paloma, you are so truly lucky that I can take you to these stores because there's kids that like go to Target and like I see how like they get bullied. But my mom was like aware of like the bulliness that goes on with that because she could see it within like school because she like volunteered and was like in Girl Scouts. So she was much more like here with us. And so she did everything she could to help me put my best foot forward. But the problem is when I then left all of that, I was like, I've been living my life for everyone but me this whole time. Shit.
Right.
That also brings up the really interesting element of like class dynamics. Of if you are from a lower income family and it's not just that, oh, my parents won't buy me this.
Like,
they
I literally
cannot.
Right.
And then you are getting bullied because of that. That just makes that bullying hurt so much more.
Right. Right. And then, but then to also be like, we can't afford it. Like, are you saying that also too? Because that would make fun of you for that too.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, you can't have the clothes and you can't afford it. Oh, tragic for you. Not Mr. Poor. You know, like middle schoolers would say anything.
They will say anything.
Ruthless.
I still remember this poor kid that had like the same shoes all the time. Don't know if for affording or he just always liked them, but they dragged him for it. They always like, haven't you been wearing those shoes since last year? Blah, blah, blah. Don't you own any other shoes? And I'm like, let's say he didn't. Are we fucking bullying him because he can't?
Right.
Yeah. Get help.
Literally sick.
I was just telling Jess this story literally yesterday. So when I was growing up, my dad would always tell us stories from his childhood, like before bed every night, story from his childhood.
That's so sweet.
It was
so
super
cute.
sweet. Yeah. And he grew up very low income. And so a lot of his stories were about, you know, his childhood, and that would come into play. And one of like the more lighthearted stories he would always tell, but that brings this in, was that he in middle school desperately wanted a members only jacket, which was like this windbreaker that just had this little stitching that said members only.
Love.
And they become popular again now.
Right.
Which actually is why Jess and I were talking about it. I bought a members only jacket for my Disney bound outfit for that main channel video.
Oh, cute.
And I was like, oh my God, my dad always talked about members only. And that he really, really wanted one. And his mom saved up money and bought him the Kmart version, which said select few instead of members only. And he wore it to school and got bullied mercilessly.
No, he didn't.
And he came home and said that it was worse than like not having the jacket. And so his mom took the stitching out and stitched in members only. I know. And I'm like, as a kid, I thought that was like a funny story. Like,
right.
Select few. Yeah. Dad, that's hysterical. But then you grow up and you're like, oh, my dad was just a little kid whose parents didn't have money for the jacket that would have made him cool and fit in. And it was probably like a really genuinely sad experience for him.
Yeah.
I mean, stuck with him long enough that he told it to his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
That's so sad. Because then it sucks being like an adult and then like being like, it doesn't even matter. Like, this shit doesn't even matter.
It's a jacket.
And like, I know that this is so real for you, and all these kids are just assholes and whatever, and they don't even get it. They don't even know what they're even talking about ever. But it's like it's real for them, and it's important, and it is obviously bullying is real and like that shit happens, but it's like
it's easy to say it doesn't matter. It's just shoes. It's just a jacket. They're just kids. You'll grow up and you won't care. But when you're that age, that is everything.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter when I grow up. I'm like, okay, well, when I grow up, then great, I'll deal with that then. But currently, I'm 12 and I'm going through it.
Yeah.
So,
and when you're in it, even I don't even feel like you have to be young. Like even when you're in it.
Yeah.
With anything, you can't see sometimes where you're just like, I hear you, but like I'm so stuck right now that I can't even see what you're talking about.
Yeah. It is hard to see past your current situation sometimes, whether that's now or 10 years ago.
And now that we're older and we have that perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not as pressing of an issue, right? To fit in, to have the cool stuff, whatever. Do you guys still have situations now where you feel that, oh my God, I'm different, I'm not cool, I'm not fitting in?
Yes.
And you feel that kind of middle school push to like conform?
For sure.
Yeah, I think posting on the internet is one of those things that I'm like,
Because you're really putting
Which
yourself out
which
there.
I kind of want to talk about
Cringe.
all together because there's fitting in, right, in real life. Here we are.
right.
But fitting in on the internet, trends. Like that kind of stuff. Also, like, I mean, right now we live in the era of like, oh, that's trending on TikTok. Like, that's what you do. Those are the specific trends. That's what we.
Right.
But aside from that, like, there are still things that we are just like always being pushed and told.
And being a creator, it's you better fit in
Mhm.
that you're doing the things that are trending and your, content is palatable for most people, but also you better stand out
Right.
because
Right.
otherwise what is unique and different and special about you that's going to make people want to watch?
Right.
So fit in, but stand out.
Yeah.
But fit in.
Yeah.
Right. You're
Yeah,
so right
you're
about
so right.
that, though.
They're like, what do they call it? Like they're like, okay, YouTube, it's not oversaturated, but it is a little bit oversaturated. So you have to do something to stand out. But like if you don't use the trending sounds, then you're not going to grow. And you're like,
And maybe that is
Right.
just like real life where you have to start out as everyone because that is like, I mean, I sit on enough social media talks where they're like, for the collective, you have to be giving what everyone knows because that's how you get growth.
Right.
And then later on, then you can start aiming. And I'm like,
right.
right, but like,
How do I stand out?
How
Like, how do I?
how do I fit in but also stand out?
But
Yeah.
at the
also be
same-
yourself and be authentic, but
Right.
also make people like you.
and stay relevant.
Right. Right. How do you? Okay. So yeah, stay relevant. I was getting ready to ask you. You've been here for a long time. You've been on the internet for a long, long time.
I'm an internet grandma.
Yes.
True.
How has it been? Or do you struggle with like staying relevant? Or is that like a goal anymore? Like what's
I think I used to fear, right, becoming irrelevant. And you're watching the life cycle of these channels where everyone's going to have a peak and then everyone's going to dip down, right? And then how long can you sustain that?
Mhm.
right?
I used to feel like, oh my God, I have to stay relevant. I have to post so consistently. I have to do this and this. And I think it was around the time I hit 1 million subscribers that I realized none of it matters as long as I'm happy, my audience is happy, and I'm paying my bills.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What else matters?
Yeah.
Right.
I no longer am chasing views, which is nice. Of course, I'd love for my content to get in front of more people,
Right.
but that's not the goal.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to change myself to fit other people. And I think that was kind of twofold. It's like the wanting to stay relevant. I've just kind of let go of that. Like I just don't
Right.
care. If there's 10,000 people watching my video or 100,000, like that's a big impact. And
Right.
I don't want to lose sight of that.
Mhm.
So I've let go of trying to chase that and trying to, like get back to that peak.
Mhm.
But I think the other aspect of that was the like not wanting to stand out. And I think honestly, that was a big personal growth thing for me with making content. Because when I started making content, I was 19. I think I was still in the mindset of like, be like everyone else.
Right.
And I also had just lost a lot of weight when I started my channel, which I think made me feel like I'm finally like everyone else.
Right.
Mm.
I think that had been something for me where I was like, this makes me different. This makes me stand out. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I decided to start YouTube when I had lost that weight because I think I
Right.
felt like I am now worthy
Mm.
of like chasing my dreams.
Right.
Right.
And I am now like everyone else. And now people will like me because I'm thin. And it was about 2 years into my channel when I realized that the things that I have been trying to hide about myself, my body image struggles, my nerdiness, the weird things about me, because I'm a freaking weird person, that's what makes people connect with you.
Right.
And I think about 2 years into my channel, so pretty early on, I realized, oh, I need to, if anything, I should be playing up the weirdness
Yeah.
Right.
because that's going to make the other weirdos see me and be like, one of us.
Right. Right. Do you
Mm.
think, because you said you think the change really started when you got to like 1 million subscribers, right? And you're like, how does one grow? Because if the goal is to grow, right, at the beginning, you're like, I'm trying to grow a channel. I'm trying to do something. So I need to do these things. Like, how do you think now you get to that point without like sacrificing your
integrity or who you are.
Yeah, or,
I guess.
or your your integrity, who you are, your interests, like the content you really want to make, but you're like, but I'm trying to grow. So
I think the best piece of advice I have been given about that is to create content that's going to bring the kind of viewers that you want in the long run. I think for a while when I was in my like rapid growth phase between like 200,000 subscribers and 1 million subscribers, and I was growing like crazy, I was like, I need to do every trend. Slime trending, let's do it. This is trending, let's do it.
right.
And I remember I was having a conversation with Ruben, actually, who's now filming main channel videos again, but this was so early on. And I was talking about how I don't know what trends to do, and I did this trending video and I just didn't feel like it was authentic. And he's like, you need to do videos, maybe sometimes that are going to reach an wider audience, yes, but more than anything are attracting viewers that you want to be with you for 10 years.
Right.
And that changed the way that I planned my videos because it wasn't like, it wasn't that every view is equal. A view from a 10-year-old boy, I don't want it. I'm not making content for you. So even if that would get me a ton of views, that's not who I'm trying to reach.
Right.
And once I figured out who I was trying to reach and how I can make content for them, that was, I think, what allowed me to reach an audience while creating content that was authentic to me.
Right.
And also fulfilling long term.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had just chased the views from wherever I could get them, probably wouldn't be doing this anymore. Because I probably would have created an audience that I couldn't serve long term.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And also I feel like you wouldn't be able to even keep,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
yeah. What were they here for?
Mm-hmm.
right. And if your content and your videos change every other week, they're like, what? I thought she did slime videos, and now you're like
Right.
singing, and you're like, okay, well, this is unsubscribed.
What is this?
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
What's it saying? It's when you stand for everything, you stand for nothing.
Yes.
The people pleaser in me hates saying that. Like, I physically recoil.
But it's true. It's true. It's like, what is your, like, then you, like, niche? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to not niche yourself into a hole, but also, like, you need to be able to tell the people what you're doing.
And that kind of, as corny as it sounds, is kind of like how you got to do it with life, where it's like you have to be authentic to yourself, be 100% yourself, because let's say you're in a new relationship, a new friend, you're out here trying to conform to what you think they want. And then guess what? Long term, you're really going to be friends with them 10 years? Probably
No.
not, because
Right.
then all of a sudden, cat's out the bag. You showed your
You're
true
not
self.
like that.
But
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
going to pretend to be different for
Yeah.
the rest of your
For the rest
life.
of your life. Right.
You have to, in life and online, attract the people who love you for you.
Right.
Because otherwise, it's going to be exhausting to keep up this charade.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon.
The charade. I guess, you know what would be kind of a funny way to close out this episode? Do you guys have any memories you can think of when you tried to either act like you liked something or downplay that you did like something to try to fit in?
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Well, I don't have something specific, but anytime anyone would be like, oh my God, have you seen this thing? Have you heard this thing? I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's so good.
Never heard of it. Never.
Not even a clue. But I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And then they'll start saying something. And I'm like, start saying something, anything.
Like about what?
Like, oh my God, yeah. Like, about what? Yeah. Oh my God, that one part. So good. Fake as hell. So fake.
You had seen it all. You had seen it all, heard it all,
Yep.
consumed it all.
Yep.
Have you? Yup.
Yep.
How did you feel when you were lying? Did you feel like panicked? You're like, they're going to know.
Oh, yeah, because you're like, okay, I hope they don't ask me a specific question about the
Yeah,
plot.
definitely. I would panic, and if they did, I'd be like, honestly, I don't even remember. It's like so late. We like watch it so late, and I think I like fell asleep. I don't know, just bullshit. Like just say anything.
I had an opposite experience of that where
Oh,
I
no.
tried to pretend that I didn't know something because it was uncool. Demi Lovato's Skyscraper had just come out.
Period.
I
course
played
it
that
did.
shit on repeat, and you can take everything in my bedroom.
Right. A great song.
Do you guys remember how iTunes used to show you the number of plays?
Oh my God, yes.
Your body.
Yes, sorry.
So this is like, I think like 8th grade. We're in my room. I've got like 3 or 4 friends hanging out. We're hanging out. I'm like in the bathroom doing my hair. Everyone's talking, whatever. Someone's on my computer playing music and they're like, oh, have you heard that? Have any of you guys heard that new song by Demi Lovato, Skyscraper? This is where like it was becoming not cool to like Disney Channel. So I was like in the bathroom, oh yeah, like I think I heard it like once on the radio, but like it wasn't that good. And she dead ass goes, really? Because on your computer it says you've played it 2,405 times.
Damn. Called out. What did you do?
I was like, oh yeah, I think I like played it once and then it auto played while I was sleeping. Lie. I played an auto played 2,405 times, Sierra. But you know what I did that night? You can take everything I have. 2,406.
God. Yeah, dude. When you get caught up like that,
Dude.
That's stress. It's immediate panic. It's immediate panic. When they catch you in a lie, you're like, and you'll say anything. That's why my mom would be like, don't lie, because then you'll have to lie again to cover up the other lie and the lie and just a never-ending amount of lies.
But why did I feel like I couldn't just be like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with that song?
Because liking Demi Lovato Disney
Was
Channel
not
wasn't
cool.
cool. And you were going to be looking like a cornball.
Yeah. And then I made myself look even worse.
And then you made it worse.
What about you, P?
I'm trying to think of like every single thing, and I really feel like it was more like I was just trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm down. Like that was who I think that I agreed more to being down for things than I actually was. Like, I don't know. There's just so many times where they'd be like, oh, let's sneak out and do this and then that. And I'm just like, oh yeah, totally down. Inside, I'm like,
freaking
people
out.
pleaser in me. I mean, I'm that person. I'm a goody. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom's going to kill me. Like, but in the name of like to fit in, like I did some stuff that Paloma would not approve of or like was like shitting herself. But I was like, you have to do this to fit in. So, you know, just a lot of stuff.
Being a little too down.
Being too down for everything. Because also I was hanging out with a lot of guys, and if they're like, oh, you want to go like golf cart around on the thing at night, I'm like, absolutely. Because I'm not going to be the girl.
Because I am so cool. You guys are scared. Your parents are going to find out.
Right.
Let's go.
And
Let's
like, I'm not going to be like the mom here telling them, because that's what happens. You can be switching to, oh, not mom. And I'm like,
right.
You're right. Because of course,
you're going to follow the rules.
No,
like, dude.
I'm driving.
Right.
And that's ended up, I adopted that.
Right. God.
But I am also very down, so
I know. Now you're really down, bitch.
Too down.
But it's hard when, like we've said, we just don't want to be bullied. We don't want to be made fun of. We don't want to be ostracized, and that's why we all do things just so we don't get like, look at P, she's so ugly and stupid and like whatever. And you're like, I would do anything to not have that happen.
Yeah, right.
Anything.
And I think growing up is realizing that it's not a bad thing to be different.
Right.
And also it's not that serious.
Right.
It seems so high stakes when you're young. And I think in your 20s and beyond, it's realizing that like, okay, so someone's going to think I'm a loser. And
Right.
am I going to let that stop me from liking the things that I like, posting the things I want to post, being the person I am? No. That's stupid. Like, at the end of the day, we all live on a floating rock in space.
And we're going to die.
And we're going to die. So why am I going to not tumble my rocks and organize my Pokemon cards?
It's true.
Just because you think it's weird?
Right. We can't be living for other people. Me to me.
No.
We can't be living for other people. Because, like, honestly, imagine just living just based on what other people, like, it directly does not affect them. Like,
no, and
literally.
if they care in that moment to say something, and then they will never think about it again, and you are so busy like trying to keep up this thing that no one is even thinking about anymore.
Yeah, everyone's so busy on their own shit.
It's exhausting. And think about all the mental energy we spent in middle school and high school worried about what people would think, say, should I wear this? Is this too out there? Is this too safe?
Like literally frightened.
Yeah.
Ugh, poor young things.
All to say, I'm glad we are on the other side and
Agreed.
are seeing that we can be, it's okay to like other things. It's okay to be different and to embrace that because that will help you find your people.
I am a cringy loser and I am proud.
I am a theater kid. I like that's something that would be used very derogatory towards us, which by the way I didn't like. But now I embrace it. I'm like, I'm a theater. I'm not gonna play.
No, right.
I've been playing for so long.
Well, here's the thing. Now you know why I'm the way I am.
Yes.
The question's answered.
Someone commented on my TikTok the other day and said, how do you have so much energy? And I said, I'm a theater kid. Done.
There
Period.
it is.
Right.
Checks out. Because you could be like, well, I sleep 12 hours and I drink the No.
At the end of the day, it's just that I'm a freaking theater kid.
Right.
Yep.
That's where all this energy is coming from.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I have a song in my heart.
I have a song.
Got a whole damn musical in your
You do. You really do. You do. And you play all 20 roles, girl. She is the lead and tree number 3, okay?
Like that woman from Victoria's who did the one woman show, Chicago.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Unlocking memories.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Bye.